Hello everyone, welcome to Math World. This video is to discuss solving equations and inequalities from the topic of quadratics. Okay, so first of all, the quadratic equations will be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a, b, c are constants and a is non-zero. Okay, so now basically to solve the quadratic equation, so we must have equal sign over here. Therefore, this is called equation. And basically, we have three methods. The first method is by using factorization. Okay, second method is to solve using quadratic formula. Alright, and the third formula is, or the third method is to solve using completing the square. Okay, so basically for the first method factorization, right, you need to change into products of two factors. So that is the factorization. Now for the second method, which is called quadratic factor, so basically for this quadratic formula. So basically for this quadratic formula is ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. This is the general quadratic equation, and then the formula is going to be x equals to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So this is our quadratic formula. Okay, right? So this is the formula from the second method, whereby the third method is using the completing the square. Okay, so generally for completing the square method, it is ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So first of all, we need to move the plus c to the other side, which means you will be getting ax squared plus bx equals to minus c, and then followed by dividing the whole equation by the coefficient for x squared, which is the a here. Okay, so when you divide the first two terms, the two terms on the left side becomes x squared plus b over ax, and the right side becomes minus c over a. Okay, and the next step is going to be rewriting the two terms on the left hand side. That will be x squared plus b over ax, and then you have to plus a term with a square, and we are going to add the same term to the right side. That is minus c over a plus square of the bracket. Now the term inside the bracket is going to be the half of the coefficient of x, which is half of plus b over a. That is going to be plus b over 2a. Okay, so once you have written down this, the next step is going to be for the left hand side, these three terms, you can simplify it into x. Now, basically, you are just referring to first and third term because both with the square outside here, but then we just write the square outside the bracket and combine these two terms. Since inside the bracket here is plus b over 2a, therefore I'm going to write plus b over 2a close bracket square. Okay, so when you do quadratic expansion, so you will be getting back the three terms in the previous step. No, now for the right side, you just need to do expansion for the second term, which is minus c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. Okay, then from here, you can just combine the terms on the right side. So it means that we are getting the same denominator, which is the 4a squared. So which means my first term, instead of minus c over a, is like you are multiplying this term by 4a over 4a. Okay, therefore the denominator becomes 4a squared. And hence your numerator is going to be minus 4ac plus b squared. Okay, and then next is going to move this square to the right side. So when we move it to the right side, it's going to be plus minus square root of the terms on the right side. Okay, so then you will just need to move this plus b over 2a to the other side. Then that will be your solution. So when you move the plus b over 2a to right side, it's going to be minus b over 2a, then plus minus square root. Okay, just for information, this square root should covering whole term. Alright, so here square root b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Now, if you proceed, okay, if you further simplify this, this is going to be minus b over 2a plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over square root of 4a squared. Just for information, square root of 4a squared is going to be square root 4 times square root a squared. Then this is going to be 2a. So I will write over 2a here. Since now both also same denominator, I can just combine. So I will combine these two terms. So it will be over 2a, and then my numerator will be minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac. Okay, this will be my x. Now, when you compare this term and the one in your formula, actually they are the same. Okay, so it depends on the question whether you need to solve using quadratic formula or just using completing the square. Okay, so both end up with the same formula. Alright, so basically these are the three methods for us to solve quadratic equation. Right? Okay, so let's move on to the question. So now for question number 1. Okay, solve the quadratic equation because this is x squared by factorization and hence solve the inequality. Okay, so firstly you have to solve by factorization and hence means use the previous answer, then solve the inequality. Okay, so now first of all, 2x squared plus 11x minus 21 equals to 0. So by factorization means that I will be using this method. Now, for your information, to get 2x squared, it is 2x times x. Both are positive. Okay, then next step is going to be looking at these two signs. So, we know that plus times a minus is going to be minus. So that means in our factorization later on, I should have plus and also minus. Okay, so now you check what are the factors of 21. So I will say that 21 probably 7 times 3. So here 7 times 3. Therefore now I will have to write either here 7, 3, 1 plus, 1 minus. You have to check now. Okay, now here if I remain as this, I have to make sure later on the total of the second term here will be plus 11x. So which means if you do this way, I will have to do expansion, multiply. 2x times plus 7 is plus 14x. Then x times minus 3 is minus 3x. Okay, so for your information, after you have done this, how do we check? You just multiply. So basically, this part you multiply. The last column you multiply, but the middle column you plus. Okay, so I will be getting 2x times x, 2x squared, plus 14x plus minus 3x, that is plus 11x, plus 7 times minus 3, that is minus 21. Okay, so I'm getting back the same three terms. Therefore, my factorization, okay, is going to be cross multiplication. So then from here, I will be getting 2x minus 3 and x plus 7 equals to 0. Now, you can either get these these two factors using this factorization method, or probably you can just use a calculator. Okay, there is a built-in function in your calculator. Then you can easily get the roots, the x. Then from there, you get back the factors. So now, since we need to solve, that means you need to find out the x values. So the product of two terms or two brackets equals to 0, which means one of them must be 0. So either 2x minus 3 equals to 0 or x plus 7 equals to 0, which means your x probably 3 over 2 or minus 7. Okay, so here we have solved the x values. Right? Okay, done for the first part. Now the second part is, hence, use the answer, solve the inequality. So now 2x squared plus 11x minus 21 less than 0. So since we have found that two factors, I will just replace the quadratic terms or quadratic function by the two factors and let it be less than 0. Okay, now to proceed with this, what to do is we need to check. This is 2, positive 2. Okay, the coefficient for x squared is positive, which means this quadratic curve will have a minimum point. So that means now here I will simply sketch quadratic curve, okay, with minimum point, but we are not interested to know what are the coordinates of the minimum point here. So I know that when x equals to 0, or when y equals to 0, based on here, when y equals to 0, I found 2x. One is 3 over 2, another one is minus 7. So this will be my x-axis, which means at this particular points, the y will be 0. So I can easily label the one on the left side by minus 7 because we have found it on the previous part, and then the other one will be 3 over 2. Okay, and now this is my graph. Y equals to 2x squared plus 11x minus 21. And now for the final answer, we refer to this part. Okay, it is less than 0. So when less than 0 means that your y value, remember this is your y value is less than 0, which means it should be below the x-axis, which means the region on the graph and below the x-axis will be the shaded region over here, which is going to be x in between minus 7 and 3 over 2. So this will be your solution of the inequality. Okay, now next question, number 2. Solve the equation using quadratic formula. So it's mentioned the method over here. So now 9x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals to 0. When you compare with ax squared, okay, compare with ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Obviously, your a is 9. Your b is minus 2. And then your c is minus 3. Okay, so just to write down the formula, this is the quadratic formula that we are going to solve, that we are going to apply. So now, obviously, your x is going to be minus b is minus 2, plus minus square root of b squared, which is minus 2 squared, minus 4, a is 9, c is minus 3. Then over 2 times 9, 2a. So then just simplify this. So minus times minus 2 is positive 2. Then plus minus square root. Okay, so for the terms inside the square root, you can just calculate all of them. So it will be 112 over 2 times 9 is 18. Then from here, firstly, you calculate using minus. Okay, so 2 minus square root 112 over 18. That is going to be negative 0.477. Now, for information, for this mathematics, you must leave your non-exact values correct to 3 significant figures. Okay, then when I calculate using plus, that is going to be 0.699. Okay, so done for the question number 2. Next question, by using completing the square method, so the third method, solve the equation minus 4x squared plus 16x plus 7 equals to 0. Okay, so this is a third method. Firstly, I will rewrite the equation. Okay, then now you move the plus 7 to the other side. So minus 4x squared plus 16x equals to minus 7. And then followed by changing the coefficient for x squared to positive 1. And now this is minus 4. Therefore, we have to divide by minus 4. Okay, so all the terms divided by minus 4, the terms on the left side become x squared minus 4x. Then the term on the right side is going to be 7 over 4. Alright, and then from here, we need to rewrite the terms on the left side, and don't forget, so plus a bracket squared equals to 7 over 4 plus a bracket squared. Okay, so the term inside the bracket is going to be half of the coefficient for x. So from here, coefficient for x is basically minus 4. So therefore, it will be minus 4 divided by 2. Okay, same goes to the other term on the right side. Then later on, I will just combine the first and third term on the left side, because both with the square, and write the square outside. So first term x, the third term on the left side is basically minus 4 over 2, which is this term. So minus 4 over 2 is basically minus 2. Okay, then for the right side, you just simplify. This is going to be 7 over 4 plus, okay, minus 4 over 2 is minus 2, but then you square it, becomes positive 4. So then you simplify it, it becomes 23 over 4. And now move the square to the right side. So it becomes plus minus. Remember, when the degree is even number, it should be plus minus. But if the degree, you are moving the degree, which is odd degree, to the left side, to the other side, I would say, to the other side, it should be just following the sign of the other term. Okay, so from here, I will get x equals to 2 plus minus square root 23. Okay, now I can split. Instead of 1 square root, I split it into 2 square root. So it becomes square root 23 over 2, because square root 4 is 2. And then from here, I can just leave my answer in the simplest form. Therefore, it will be 2, or I would say in the exact form. So 2 minus square root 23 over 2, or 2 plus square root 23 over 2. So this will be the exact value. Okay, exact values. So whenever you say exact, means that no decimal, which means you are allowed to leave your answer in square root form. So that's all for the solution of this question by using completing the square method. Okay, now next question, number 4. Solve the inequality. Okay, so it is minus 8x squared plus 10x plus 3 less than 0. So from here, what we are going to do is, I will change the coefficient for x squared into positive value first. Instead of minus 8, I wanted to change to, instead of minus 8, I want to change to positive 8. So when I times negative 1 to the whole inequality, then you have to change all the signs, okay, from minus to plus and from plus to minus. So the plus becomes minus. Then the inequality sign you have to change as well. Instead of less than, now becomes more than. Okay, this only happens when you multiply or divide by minus 1. Okay, and then you try to factorize these 3 terms. So basically, this quadratic function can be factorized. So I know that 8x squared is going to, it could be 8x times 1x or 4x times 2x. So I choose this because I need to get minus 10x over here, and the other one is just 3. Okay, so before that, I have to decide what are the signs for the factors of the 3 later on. So we know that minus times plus is going to be minus. So which means I should have minus and plus in my third column here. So therefore, it should be, probably I will write minus, because it's more negative x, right? So I will write minus 3 and plus 1 over here. So then when you do multiplication, this is minus 12x. And plus 1 times 2x is plus 2x. So obviously, I will be getting 8x squared. And this is minus 3 when you do multiplication for first and third column. And the second column, you are adding. So when you add, it will be minus 10x. So I'm getting back the same quadratic function. So therefore, my factors just cross multiply. So I will be getting 2x minus 3 and 4x plus 1 greater than 0. Okay, and now don't forget, I get these two factors from the previous step. So now when you sketch the graph, because we need to solve the inequality right now, when we sketch a graph, we are referring to the positive 8 now, okay, because I'm using more than 0. So since this is positive 8, which means the graph will be having a minimum point. So just simply sketch a graph and label the horizontal axis as x-axis. And then now from here, I know that if I let this be 0, the first bracket be 0, that is going to be positive 3 over 2. And then the other factor, when you let it be 0, your x will be negative 1 over 4, which means negative should be on the left side. So when I do the labeling on my graph, and then the other side will be positive 3 over 2. Okay, and now for final answer, refer to the inequality here, more than 0. So when more than 0, that means the graph is above the x-axis, which means I will have to accept these two regions. So therefore, my final answer, x will be less than negative 1 over 4, or x is greater than 3 over 2. Okay, so that is the solution for question number 4.